Thanks to everyone who's joining us so far here on episode 10 of the Straight Talk Show. We'll be getting started very shortly. Go ahead and share this stream with someone right now. Share it with a friend, family member, coworker. Share it with a lunatic, right-wing retard. Share it with someone. Get it out there. Let's get to 10 viewers on Rumble before we get started. We'll be getting started very shortly. All right. Welcome into Straight Talk with Isaiah Ascher. I am your host, Isaiah Ascher. Thank you so much to everyone who's joining us tonight. Looks like we've got quite a few of you watching across all of the platforms. If you are not currently watching on Rumble, go ahead, head over to rumble.com/user/Straight Talk Isaiah right now, where you can join in on the conversation. I have the Rumble live chat pulled up right now in front of me, and you can engage with me there. Go ahead, like the video right now, smash that like button, share this with someone, share it with a left-wing lunatic, a right-wing retard, as we like to say. Just share it with anyone, family member, cousin, dad, your nephew even, who might be a groiper, right? Well, you can see we're very casual today on December 19th, getting ready for the Christmas season. I was actually opening some presents. That's what took me so long here and why I had to start the stream and keep it going there for a while. Wanted to get started early. The show will probably be a little shorter. Usually we go 2.5 hours, and probably only going to go a little bit over an hour tonight, but we're going to do a deep dive. So lots to get into, lots happening this past week. But before we get started, go ahead, throw in the chat below. Let me know where you're joining from. I see we've got quite a few people watching on X right now. Head on over to Rumble so we can see your chat. We aren't able to see the live chat from Twitter because of Elon. Come on, Elon, fix that so we can get Rumble and Twitter talking to each other. Head on over to Rumble right now at Straight Talk Isaiah. You can find me there. And then, of course, please go ahead, donate below, throw any super chat below. Right now, we are starting to raise money for a trip to Washington, D.C. that me and our producer, Nick, will be taking in the summer. In May, we'll be going up to Washington, D.C., doing some tours. We'll be doing some IRL streams. Very excited about that. Got to get a new phone before we do that. I think Nick needs to get a new phone too before we do that, but very excited to go to Washington, D.C. Hopefully we can schedule some interviews while we're out there, sit down with some lawmakers, sit down with maybe a senator, representative, someone that can give us some answers for we the people. And then I did want to let you know tonight, new thing that we're going to go ahead and try tonight is you can call in at any point during the show. Call in at 314-626-4196. That's 314-626-4196. If you have commentary on anything during the show, that's 314-626-4196. Go ahead and give me a call. Would love to chat with you. Hopefully I can get the audio figured out so that everyone can hear it on the first call. Whenever we take that first call, bear with me. Have a lot of grace, right? Jesus would have grace with you, so have some grace with me. If we do get some callers, I will keep you all posted if that comes through. Well, it's December 19th. Thanks to, I see we got a lot more people joining in. Thanks for joining in. Throw in the live chat right now where you're joining from, like, and share the stream. Donate below to support. I didn't say this earlier, but 100% of all the donations that you donate go right back into this show. So thank you so much. We've already raised some money. We're raising money for our trip to Washington, D.C. is what I just announced. Me and our producer, Nick, will be going out there in May. Very excited about that. Well, that's enough advertising, talking. Just was spending some time with my family, opening some Christmas presents. That's right, Christmas. Merry Christmas. It's all about Christmas here. Christ is King. And my wife got me this mug. It's kind of hard to see with the lights, studio lights, but you can see my name there. It says, for Alderman 2026, Isaiah Ascher. Because if you didn't know, I'm running for Alderman in a local election in my city here. So very excited about that. Looking very good for the election so far for me. So that's how you can make a difference as well. Just step up. Doesn't take anyone special. I'm not someone special. I don't have a special background, no special education. I just accepted the call, right? Just like in the Bible, Isaiah says, "Here am I, Lord, send me." That's all you can do the same. You can say, "Here I am, send me." Well, welcome in, everyone. Welcome to the show. Like I said, December 19th, 2025. We got full plate today. Lots happening. Got some progress on lowering drug costs. Apologies. We got new moves to protect our kids from irreversible procedures. A big step on marijuana policy. Got an update from AmFest, Turning Point USA's AmFest, and then the big one of the day that everyone here is watching for right now is the Epstein files, the release of the Epstein files. We're so excited to get into the Epstein files to see what do we have? What do we learn? Any new information? Anything of substance, right? We'll be getting into all of that. We'll be breaking down each story as we always do, sharing our America First perspective as we always do here, right? America First, Christ is King on Straight Talk. We always say that. And of course, we have to take a look at the left-wing lunatics. Got some clips, just a few clips. We won't, because the show will be going so long, just maybe 2 or 3 left-wing lunatics clips. All of this and more tonight. So go ahead, turn up the volume, share this with a friend, family member, or coworker, and let's jump right into it. All right. Like I said, the drug prices are big drug price announcement, I should say, actually. Today at the White House, President Trump made a big announcement, announced deals, huge deals, right? Huge deals with 9 major pharmaceutical companies whose names I cannot pronounce at all. Couldn't pronounce them even if you asked me to. Let's give them a try, though. Amgen, Boehringer, Ilgenheim, Bristol Myers Squibb, Genentech, Gilead, etc. Tons of companies. Like I said, names I can't pronounce. And he signed this into significantly cut drug prices under the most favored nation framework. This means U.S. prices for certain meds through Medicaid and direct cash purchases align closer to the lower rates in other countries, with some of the discounts being up to 70%. That's a big, big cut. Some examples include big drops on diabetes and cholesterol drugs, and one blood thinner in particular, even free for some folks and for some specific drugs. Companies are also committing to more U.S. manufacturing to sidestep tariffs for overseas manufacturing and the tariffs that are imposed by President Trump's administration. And as we know, this put American patients first, finally. It's ending the practice of foreigners getting our innovations at rock bottom prices while we pay top dollar and others don't. Other countries don't. Got tough deals like this, fight inflation for a country and deliver relief to families, just like your family and my family, without any more government spending. Thank God we don't need any more government spending. Slash the spending. We don't want any big government. We're going to see what President Trump has to say here in a moment. But before we jump into that, just want to say, hey everybody, quick word about one of the most important documentaries you'll watch this year. It's called The Fall of Minneapolis, produced by Alpha News and award-winning journalist Liz Collin. This film blows the lid off what really happened with George Floyd, the trial, the media lies, the police body cam footage they never showed you, and how an innocent city was burned while good cops were thrown under the bus. It's already been watched over 10 million times and praised by the late, great Charlie Kirk, Megyn Kelly, Jack Posobiec, Dinesh D'Souza, Tim Pool, and many others, and many more who care about truth and justice. And the best part is that it's 100% free right now. No subscription, no paywall. Go watch The Fall of Minneapolis today at thefallofminneapolis.com. Or just search for it on Rumble right here. And if this film opens your eyes like it has for millions of others, like it has for me, please consider a 100% tax-deductible donation at alphanews.org so they can wake up even more Americans. You deserve the real story. Watch it tonight. Go ahead and check out that documentary as soon as possible on the truth behind George Floyd. We're going to see right now what President Trump had to say, just a quick clip about the drug prices. And if I didn't tell you already, unfortunately, our great producer, Nick, is out again at a Christmas party, a work Christmas party. Can you believe it, chat? A work Christmas party. And if you don't want Nick going to any more work Christmas parties, throw in a donation below, a super chat below, like this stream, share it with someone, because that way he can quit his job and be 100% devoted to this show, and you won't miss out on him. You won't have to go to any more office Christmas parties, except for our office Christmas party that we have, right? Well, we're going to go ahead and take a look here. Let me pull up X. Hopefully everyone can see here. Good. All right. Let me turn off this banner. Sorry, guys. Nick usually does all this stuff. It's so hard. Let's check out what President Trump has to say here.
Starting next year, American drug prices will come down fast and furious and will soon be among the lowest in the developed world. So in other words, whatever the lowest price for a certain drug, of which these companies make much of it, whatever the lowest price is, that price will come down to that price. So we will get the lowest price anywhere in the world. If they're lower in England than they are in Germany, we take the England price. As of today, 14 out of the 17 largest pharmaceutical companies, but they've all agreed, have now agreed to drastically lower drug prices for their American patients, for the American people and patients. This represents the greatest victory for patient affordability in the history of American healthcare by far. And every single American will benefit. So this is the biggest thing ever to happen on drug pricing and on healthcare. Starting next year, American drug prices will come down fast and furious.
Wow. Interesting there. He says that every American will benefit from this. This is the greatest victory in the health world that they have ever seen. Don't know about that. You know, everything that President Trump does is the greatest that's ever been done, the greatest that everyone's ever been seen, right? But pretty incredible to see this pushing back against the establishment, right? And it's great to see Trump standing up against Big Pharma. But now, as we've talked about in the past here on the show, we want to see him stand up against every other special interest group out there. We want to see President Trump stand up to every other foreign lobby organization out there. It's time to put America first. And what that means is, when you put America first, it means America only. That's what America first means. And so while this is a great victory and something to celebrate, we need to sober up a little bit, maybe, right? And say, hey, this is great. This is a small baby step in the right direction, but what about all these other special interest groups? What about the Adelsons and the Israel lobby? What about the Qatari lobby? You know, Japan, and all these other nations that have such an influence on ours. That's not putting America first, that's America last. And so America first means America only. All right, got to keep moving forward. And speaking of America first, yesterday, the health secretary, RFK Jr., announced new rules to cut federal funding for puberty blockers, as well as cross-sex hormones and surgeries on minors. Before we continue, just want to remind you that tonight we are allowing you to call into the show. If you have commentary on anything at any point, you can go ahead, call in at 314-626-4196. That's 314-626-4196. Would love to hear from you guys. Give me a call if you have any commentary on any of this or on the Epstein files in particular. Continuing on regarding Secretary RFK Jr., Health Secretary RFK Jr. announcing these new rules to cut federal spending. This cut includes barring Medicaid chip dollars for these procedures and potentially excluding hospitals that perform them from Medicare, Medicaid participation, which is great. This is all government-funded, taxpayer-funded programs. And so we don't want our money to go to this. This is all based on reviews showing low evidence of long-term benefits. Low evidence on long-term benefits. Just want to reemphasize that, right? And then high risks of harm. Thank God they did this to save our children. And of course, House Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene was the one who was the main sponsor for this bill. She's the one who put it forth in Congress. And so we, of course, want to see what she has to say. She put out a video today on X. And let's take a look at this real quick.
I'm excited to announce that my bill, Protect Children's Innocence Act, that criminalizes gender-affirming care on any minor under the age of 18, has passed the House of Representatives. So I would also like to thank 3 Democrats that voted to protect kids, Cuellar, Davis, and Gonzalez. Thank you so much for protecting children. Unfortunately, there were 4 Republicans that voted no and refused to protect kids. Those Republicans are Evans from Colorado, Fitzpatrick, Kennedy of Utah, and Mike Lawler from New York. I don't know why they can't protect kids, but that's too bad. But I'm still excited my bill passed, and it goes to the Senate next. Thank you so much for your support.
Wow. Kind of a bombshell there from Marjorie Taylor Greene, exposing the corruption in the swamp. We saw, like she said, we have 3 Democrats who voted with her, which means how many Democrats voted against her and voted for gender mutilation, for cutting off children's genitals, right? That's what these Democrats support. Thank God there's 3 Democrats that have some sense in the House. And unfortunately, you got 4 Republicans who don't have any sense in the House. From Colorado, Utah, and New York, if you're watching right now from any of those states, you need to look to see if this is your representative. And if it is, you need to get them out in the primary this next year, if possible, in 2026. We can't have that on the conservative side. That's only for the left-wing lunatics, right? We believe in protecting vulnerable kids from permanent changes that they can't fully consent to. This is core to strong families, and in my opinion, it's core to parental rights as well. And thank God for this bill. It stops ideological overreach and prioritizes real health over these outrageous experiments. So thanks to Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene for getting that through the House. Senators, get this bill passed, and then President Trump sign it as quickly as the Epstein Files Transparency Act. That's how fast we want to see this bill fly through the Senate and get to your desk, Mr. President. Well, also happening yesterday was President Trump signed an executive order directing the Attorney General to fast track rescheduling marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 drug. This recognizes some accepted medical uses like for pain, nausea, anorexia, while also keeping federal controls in place. It's going to be able to ease research barriers, so that's a good thing, and it could help with tax relief for medical providers in the future, but doesn't legalize recreational use. So don't worry, Grandma. Don't worry, Grandpa, Boomer. It's not happening yet. There's no federal legalization of recreational use of marijuana. Simply a rescheduling of the drug, which is good. It should not be. It was scheduled, if you aren't familiar, it was scheduled above cocaine. Can you believe that? marijuana was said to be more dangerous than cocaine. So this is just correcting the common sense kind of barriers that are set up in the government for the scheduling of these drugs. So very interesting to see that. President Trump said a lot yesterday, and we're going to take a look here at what he had to say about the rescheduling of the drug. So let's jump over here and take a look at President Trump's response to all of this.
At the same time, the facts compel the federal government to recognize that marijuana can be legitimate in terms of medical applications when carefully administered. In some cases, this may include the use as a substitute for addictive and potentially lethal opioid painkillers. They cause tremendous problems. This can do it in a much lesser way, can make people feel much better that are living through tremendous pain and problems. 40 states and multiple U.S. territories have already recognized the use of medical marijuana. This reclassification order will make it far easier to conduct marijuana-related medical research, allowing us to study benefits, potential dangers, and future treatments. It's going to have a tremendously positive impact, I believe. We're also asking Congress to reconsider its classification of hemp-derived CBD to ensure seniors can access CBD products they have found beneficial for pain and other reasons. Some people are literally dying, and they're dying with tremendous pain, and this can, in many cases, literally stop it. And they have their senses about them, as opposed to painkillers, which don't allow that, don't allow them to die with dignity, frankly. I promise to be the president of common sense, and that is exactly what we're doing. This is really something having to do with common sense. And it's something having to do with the fact that so many people that I respect ask me to do, people that are having problems, big problems. They are having big problems with illness, with cancer in particular. I now want to ask Dr. Oz to say a few words, followed by Dr. Braun, Dr. Casseret.
Well, we heard there from President Trump regarding the rescheduling of marijuana. Like he said, something interesting, the verbiage that they chose was legitimate. The government now recognizes the legitimate use cases for marijuana and that they can use it for research for cancer. Like he said, there's people that he knows personally that have appealed to him that they need to use this and that it's helped them out. There's many cases even of Parkinson's, right? Things like that help many people. And PTSD even, right, with many soldiers. And so there's many benefits to marijuana. And this is just, like you said, a common sense law, just putting sense, making common sense common again, as it is not so common as we know. You know, this rescheduling, it supports medical freedom for things like we mentioned, like the veteran pain relief, without opening the floodgates that could come with full legalization across the entire country and the potential chaos that could ensue due to that. Excuse me. Well, we got to keep the show moving forward. We're already 40 minutes into the show. And right now, before we go any further, just want to say, like the stream, share the stream with someone right now. We need to get some more viewers in here on Rumble so that we can keep these ad campaigns going. The ad campaigns that come up that we're able to do ad reads on help support the show. 100% of all the proceeds goes right back into the show. There's lights, cameras, equipment, right? And then also right now we're raising money. We need $600 for our trip to the White House in May, me and the producer, Nick. And I'll even tease you guys something coming soon is some merch that we're working on, some hats. So in the new year, we'll have some merch, 2 different hats. Don't want to tell you what they are, but we'll get some designs. And then once we drop those designs, we'll be dropping the pre-orders as well. So again, make sure to always follow us, subscribe, turn on your notifications to make sure you know anytime we're going live. That way you can be the first to know when we drop our merch, because we'll be dropping the merch live on a live stream first, of course, for our true patriots that watch week after week. You watching right now, thank you for your support. Appreciate every single one of you watching, liking, and sharing the stream right now. Well, like I said, we got to keep the show moving forward. We got a lot on our plates. And of course, we don't want to pass up Turning Point's AmFest 2025 happening in Phoenix right now. Probably someone speaking right now as we're streaming. This is a tribute to the late, great Charlie Kirk with speakers on faith, freedom, the movement of Turning Point. It's been an energizing conference from the clips and from the speeches that I've watched. I watched the opening speech from Erica Kirk, of course. So very, very interesting. But there's also been a lot of visible tension, obviously, right? There's some speakers that are on the platform together that don't necessarily agree with each other. So speakers like Ben Shapiro, who called out those who are platforming, quote unquote, bad actors, like the infamous or famous, however you want to look at him, Nick Fuentes. And Tucker Carlson is pushing back at him, defending his interviews and making points on unity, foreign policy, and even Islam. Something I completely disagree with Tucker on is his viewpoints on Islam. He is whack job as far as it comes to Islam. Complete whack job. Couldn't align with him on that, you know. A lot of things that I could agree with him on, a lot of things I can align myself with him on, but can't align myself with him on his views on Islam. But that's beside the point, chat. That's beside the point. Let's take a look here at this 90-second clip of Ben Shapiro. We're just going to get a little view into this tension that was playing out between Ben Shapiro, who spoke first, and then we'll see Tucker's reaction after that. And I want to see if you guys have anything to say about it. So, like I said earlier, if you're just joining us, just want to remind everyone that you can call in to the show tonight. Very excited about that. We are allowing our viewers to call into the show. The number you can call into is 314-626-4196. That's 314-626-4196. We'd love to hear from you, hear what your thoughts are on anything that we've talked about right now, anything so far, the AmFest, Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, and then, of course, coming up are the Epstein files, the breakdown of the Epstein files, everything there that we're going to go through. So let's take a look really quick at the clip here from Ben Shapiro. Like I said, just a 90-second clip. You're going to want to watch this whole thing. So
that actually get at the truth. If we agree with the guest, that's fine, but we should own it. So, for example, if you host a Hitler apologist, Nazi-loving, anti-American piece of refuse like Nick Fuentes, you know, the Nick Fuentes who said that the vice president of the United States is a, quote, fat gay race traitor married to a Jeet. The person who said that Charlie Kirk was a, quote, retarded idiot. The person who said, and pardon my language here, it's his quote, that he, quote, took Turning Point USA and fucked it, and that's why it's filled with groypers. If you have that person on your show and you proceed to glaze him, you ought to own it. There is a reason that Charlie Kirk despised Nick Fuentes, and indeed even chided Dinesh D'Souza for debating him. He knew that Nick Fuentes is an evil troll and that building him up is an act of moral imbecility. And that is precisely what Tucker Carlson did. He built Nick Fuentes up. And he ought to take responsibility for that, just as he ought to take responsibility for glazing pornographer and alleged sex trafficker Andrew Tate, or for mainstreaming fake historian and pseudo-Nazi apologist Daryl Cooper as America's best and most honest popular historian. Hosts are indeed responsible for the guests they choose and the questions they ask those guests.
Wow. Quite a clip there from Ben Shapiro. Just a loser, in my opinion, if you ask me. That's just my opinion. I used to like Ben Shapiro, but over the years, more and more didn't like him. I kind of didn't always necessarily like him. He always rubbed me the wrong way. Just how he talked, and kind of a nerd, just in my personal opinion. But a couple things here before we see Tucker's reaction to this. He said, "You ought to own it. You ought to own it." He said that to Tucker because of having Nick Fuentes on. When did he not own it? Own what? You're saying that he has to own that he had him on a show. Well, he's already owned that. What I think you're saying, Ben Shapiro, is that not does he have to own having him on a show. Instead, you're saying he needs to own the view that I have. And that's that he's an anti-Semite, that he's a little Hitler, like all these other things, right? And if you don't have that viewpoint, then you ought to own it. Then you're wrong, and that's the only viewpoint you can have. And so, got to disagree with that. People got to have different viewpoints, right? And then something that's disgusting that he does is he pulls specific quotes about Charlie Kirk and about Turning Point USA that Nick Fuentes uses to rile up the audience. Absolutely vile and disgusting. Cannot believe it. He did that all on purpose. We know he knew exactly what he was doing. So just ridiculous. Can't believe it. I mean, I can believe it kind of from one instance, but also couldn't believe it. So this is a longer clip. I couldn't find the exact clip portion that I wanted from Tucker Carlson's response. But I did find this clip, and it's a 4-minute clip, but we're just going to watch about a minute and a half of it. Give them both about the same amount of time over rebuttal.
And I feel like I missed the first part of the program. Hope I didn't miss anything meaningful. But I just want to say, I don't think I did. No, I'm just kidding. I watched it. I laughed. That kind of bitter, sardonic laugh that emerges from you when like Upside Down World arrives. When your dog starts doing your taxes and you're like, wait, it's not supposed to work this way. To hear calls for like deplatforming and denouncing people at a Charlie Kirk event, I'm like, what? This is hilarious. Yeah, this is hilarious. Actually, one of the clips I was listening to myself, thinking as I often do when I hear myself speak, which is never, because I never watch myself, but at these events, they always play like the role of you. And I'm like, that guy is pompous. Woo! Sorry about that. We don't see ourselves clearly. But the prediction that, at some point when Republicans took power again, which I did everything I could, to help, and really felt that was important. I still think, I was right. But I really thought that the impulse to deplatform people, or even to use the word platform as a verb, which it's not, it's a noun, don't steal my nouns, deplatform and denounce. Why haven't you denounced somebody else? The whole like Red Guard cultural revolution thing that we so hated and feared on the left, that we did everything we could to usher in a new time where you could have an actual debate. I mean, this kind of was the whole point of Charlie Kirk's public life. And I think that he died for it. I really believe that.
Wow. Great response. And like I said earlier, I don't agree with everything that Tucker Carlson says, but I do agree with him here on how he frames this. He's saying, hey, Ben Shapiro's trying to get me to deplatform someone, trying to say, hey, let's get him to cancel Nick Fuentes. You had him on the show, now denounce him, right? Let him know that you don't agree with him. And Tucker does a beautiful job here of saying, hey, I'm not going to denounce him, all right? Everyone's entitled to their view. Whether you agree with them or not, everyone's entitled to their own viewpoint. You're entitled to your viewpoint, viewer watching right now. I'm entitled to my viewpoint. My viewpoint doesn't mean that I'm always right, doesn't mean that you're always right. We're all just learning. We're all trying to get through it, right? So that's why I love how Tucker responded there and just really broke it down and said, hey, this is what Charlie stood up for. This is what he died for. This is exactly what he died for, is for free speech just like this. So great job, Tucker. In my opinion, the duel there, Tucker, you win. All right. Alp wins. All right. Maybe I've never done any nicotine pouches, but if we can get $100 in Super Chats donations tonight, I'll go buy some Alp pouches and I'll do my first one live on stream. But I don't think we'll get that because I don't think you guys really want to see it. But if you do, $100 in Super Chats and we'll do an upper decky. All right. Maybe an upper decky, lower decky simultaneously. Getting back to AmFest 2025 in Phoenix, live happening right now. The highlight of the opening day, of course, was Erica Kirk's main speech, the intro speech to the conference. And in that speech, she made a big announcement about Turning Point and what they plan to do in 2026. And so, pulling up the clip here, I just want to show you guys what the plans for Turning Point in 2026 are. Let's take a look here at what Erica Kirk had to say to everyone.
We're going to ensure that President Trump has Congress for all 4 years. We are going to get my husband's friend, J.D. Vance, elected for 48 and the most resounding way possible. We're going to...
Did you catch that? She said, we're going to get my husband's friend, J.D. Vance, elected for 48. That's right. J.D. Vance for president, officially declared by Turning Point USA, who was one of the biggest organizations to have an impact on the 2024 election. One of the reasons that President Trump did win was Charlie Kirk and the mobilization of the young vote, right? Getting them out to vote, the young person. And so interesting to see that right away. As soon as they open the conference, that's one of the first things that they declare. So they didn't wait till the end. They wanted to have everyone know right away. And we also will have J.D. Vance speaking at AmFest 2025 coming up. So sorry, doing some things on my iPad over here so I can get things going. And we may even do some streams of AmFest later on. I think I wanted to try to potentially do J.D. Vance's speech if I could, amongst a couple other speeches that are on the docket. But we'll see. We'll see what we can do, what we can't do. Holiday season, Speaking of the holiday season, just want to let everyone knowing and everyone know watching. And I'll make an announcement later too, but next week we won't be able to have a show due to the holidays. And so next Friday, no show. And then the following Friday, we will have a show on January 2nd. So very excited to get back in the new year in 2026, kicking off the year with you right here the day after New Year's on January 2nd. then getting ready for my election in 2026 and getting ready for the midterm elections as well, primaries and things like that. So lots to come in the next couple weeks, lots to come in 2026. Like I said, we already announced some merch coming as well. And what do you think, chat? What do you think about 2026? What do you think about 2028 and JD Vance and Turning Point USA announcing that they're going to put their full support back behind him? Do you see him as a true America First patriot, or who do you see as the true America First patriot that we can put our support behind? Let me know in the chat below, or if you're watching this later on, let me know in the comments below. You don't have to watch live to let me know. Would love to see your comments. I always check the comments and respond as I go throughout the week, and as you're watching back later on, let me know below. All right, well, it's the part of the show everyone has been waiting for, the Epstein files release, right? The Epstein files. Today was the legal deadline under the Epstein Files Transparency Act that was signed by President Trump. It was a day to have the DOJ release all of the unclassified records, which includes investigations, flight logs, associates, death details, etc. So what actually happened today? What happened at 3 p.m. today? Well, we saw a large but a partial, unfortunately, large but partial dump happened. Hundreds of thousands of pages, which includes old photos, tons of old photos, of Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, Michael Jackson, Chris Tucker, among many others. We also saw court documents, some older complaints. But we did hear from Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche earlier today before the Epstein files were released. He was on Fox and Friends, and he confirmed it's not everything. There's still more files that will be released over the next few weeks. And what we see here in these files are heavy redactions in places like full blackouts, for example, on grand jury testimonies. And much of these files are recycled from past releases. Not much new. Little to no new major revelations, or little to no new major mentions of President Trump today as well. Like I said, they just started dumping these Epstein files due to the Epstein Files Transparency Act that Congress pushed through last month. And President Trump, who signed it, was flip-flopping on this, didn't want to release them, but as we have covered here on the show in the past, talking about how he did not want to release them. But we were promised full transparency with this Transparency Act. We were promised all the unclassified records, all the investigative materials. We were promised the flight logs. We were promised the works. And instead, we have a big letdown. A big letdown. It's just a partial release, like we said. Those heavy redactions, zero bombshells happening. So what is actually in the drop? We mentioned some things, but we see that the DOJ posted the Epstein Files page here. Let me go ahead and pull this up, and I can share it with you. Share my screen so everyone can see. Here is the Epstein Files webpage. This is where everything is. Where's that at? There we go. Yeah, this is where everything is. So you can search. I don't think it works too well because let's see. Maxwell. Oh, okay. Dang. Let's see. Clinton. Wow. Let's see what we got here. Oh my gosh, man. This is crazy. Top body, just a bunch of redactions. CD. Far East Clinton Bali. So Bill Clinton went to Bali with sketch. Super sketch. All right, let's see here. Clinton, let's see. Trump, right? That's what everyone's wondering about. Why does this say Trump? What's on here? J.E. stationery, Jeffrey Epstein stationery, small envelopes, large envelopes. Oh, fire and fury inside the Trump White House. Okay, that's why. Right here. Interesting. Okay. You know what's interesting too is Barron's Barron Trump. Super interesting. Okay. There you go. It's contact book. Trump in here. Probably seen this before. Seen a lot of this before, I feel like. Piggy? Oh, man. Let's see. All right. QRST. We're trying to see Trump is on here. Yeah, right there. Blaine and Robert Trump. Okay. Is that his dad? Ivanka, Ivana. Robert and Blaine. Chris Tucker, baby. Russia. Woo! Yeah. Chris Tucker. Oh, man. I don't see Donnie in here, boys. I don't see Donnie. Old Donnie in here is not in here. Where you at, Donnie? You're not in the contact book, buddy. You in a different one here? Looks like they got a couple. No, these are all in... Man, okay. So, interesting. Did not find Donald there. Found his wife's. What's this? This is a... Okay, President Trump on witness list. Okay. Yeah, we've seen all this. Yeah, we've seen this. Nothing new here. Okay. What's this? Okay. Glen District reporters. Let's see if we can find Trump. Okay, here. Epstein was different from most sexual abuse suspects. He was far more powerful. He counted among his friends former President Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and Prince Andrew, along with some of the most prominent legal, scientific, and business in the country. Epstein is said to have befriended former Harvard president Larry Summers, who resigned, right? Prominent law professor Alan Dershowitz, Donald Trump, and New York Daily News publisher Mort Zuckerman. Interesting. He's a lot of fun to be with, Donald Trump told New York Magazine in 2002. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life. Oh, gosh. It's a famous quote. Trump snags Gossman estate for $41 million. Trump is not about to be Trump. Trump bested two other bidders. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Some bid. Okay. Donald Trump has lavish homes in New Mexico. Donald Trump. His friends, other attorneys said Epstein's case has raised the issue of whether wealthy, connected defendants like Epstein, whose friends include former President Clinton, Donald Trump, are treated retreated differently from others once he knew he was the subject of a criminal probe. Epstein hired a phalanx of powerful attorneys. Okay. Interesting. Trump University. Okay. Doesn't seem like much in here. Publisher, the Palm Beach, Florida Holdings, but Trump, publisher. All right. Okay. Anything? What? Okay, let's see here. Okay, Donald Trump. The opposition of Donald Trump had already possessed a legitimate basis for doing so. Trump called Epstein's West Palm Beach. Trump was quoted very fair. Donald Trump, okay. Banned Epstein from his Mar-a-Lago. Approached Trump from Mar-a-Lago. Flew on his plane. Trump had been to Epstein's home in Palm Beach. Epstein's phone directory from his computer contains 14 phone numbers for Donald Trump. Okay, so he did have him, including phone emergency. He's close by. Okay, Trump was quoted very fair. Okay. Not on Trump here, but nothing that's really incriminating. I may have met Donald Trump at that time because my father was friendly with him and liked him very much. Okay. So I don't remember if I did meet him or not in 1999 with my dad, but I knew that's not how I knew about it. I think this is Virginia or Ghislaine's testimony. Okay. You mentioned President Trump early on. Conversation mentioned President Trump in the early 90s, yes. What did you observe as far as President Trump and his relationship with you or Mr. Epstein? Well, I just want to say for my relationship with President Trump, relationship's a big word, but I just want to say that I met him, or I believe I may have, because of my father in the 90s. Yep, okay. So my father liked him very much, and he was loved. Really liked his wife as well, because we were both Czechoslovakian. As far as I'm concerned, President Trump was always very cordial and very kind to me. I just want to say that I admire his extraordinary achievement in becoming the president now, and I like him, and I've always liked him. Talk about a suck up. So that is some of the substance of my entire relationship with him. What about Mr. Epstein's relationship with him? I don't know how they met, and I don't know how they became friends. I certainly saw them together. Social settings, I believe so. Okay. All right. Let's see. What else do we got here about President Trump? Man. Lots. Well, as you can see, there's lots digging in here, lots to get into that you can just dive into more yourself, and photos you can look at. There's photos galore of Epstein running elbows with celebrities, powerful players. Bill Clinton's featured heavily in here. We got a picture of him in a hot tub. You can find all over X, right? Tons of stuff like that. Let me see if I can pull up some photos here, actually. I'm just going to share my tab. Share the screen. Share. There you go. All right, look at this. Michael Jackson, baby. Just beat it. Look at these guys. I don't know who that is, but I feel like I know who it is. Just swimming with the president. Don't know who this lady is, but she's got her face blanked out. Interesting, right? Very interesting stuff here. Redacted files. This is what it's looking like. Here we go. Disgusting, dude. Like there's a kid right there. Wow, look at that. On his airplane, I'm going to his little island. Sweaters. More redactions there, right, that they're showing off. Wow. It's photos just everywhere, man. This dude's disgusting. Look at this. Massage for a baby. This was found there. And these are all the things that are in these files. Just so much, right? Very young girl on his lap. Here he is. Suspiciously shaped piece of cake while on the phone. With a shelf of Talmud volumes. No way. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Look at all these redacted pictures too. Wow. Yeah. Just wanted to dive into some of that with you guys, especially live, just reacting. It's always fun just to see what's going on. See what's going on with this in particular. See what's going on with the Epstein files and what we're finding, because, like I said earlier, not much new, but definitely some interesting photos that are surfacing from this batch, right? We see people like Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, Kevin Spacey, Chris Tucker, Richard Branson all pop up. Ghislaine, of course, we see her tons. And we even see a 1996 FBI complaint way before his 2008 plea deal that accused Epstein of CP, possession, and threatening a witness. We have handwritten notes and messages showing Epstein hunting underage girls right up to his 2019 arrest. We have old flight logs and contact logs, and nothing new about President Trump, like we said. Few already public photos from the early 90s and early 2000s, like we had seen in like the Democrats tried to release. It's Melania, Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, before their fallout, right? Before he was banned from Mar-a-Lago. No new dirt, no new prominent mentions, no bombshells, like we said. And that client list that we've all been looking for, still a ghost, unfortunately. A ghost just like Patrick Swayze is. The DOJ says for months, they've been saying for months that they're going to give us all the files. And still they give us partial release of the files. Maybe no such list exists. I don't know. I don't believe it. There has to be a list, right? They just want to protect them. There's definitely a list of elite pedos that paid for trafficking. He didn't just traffic to no one, right? So there's a list. We want to know the list. We the people deserve to know the list. Instead of getting that list, right, we got this blacked out, redacted, blurred faces, just nothing really. And they're saying that it's to protect the victims, even if they're not confirmed victims. And they admit that it might be an over redaction, they say, but hey, it's better be safe than sorry. Like I said earlier, though, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said that there's more files that are going to be coming in the next few weeks. So more to come. Says at the end, even though the law said today, we saw from Ro Khanna, from Thomas Massey, all these responses of saying, hey, it's today. The deadline's today. We need the files released. And they were threatening legal action, threatening contempt, even impeachment talks with some of these guys. Ridiculous. But hey, go check out Ro Khanna's page. There's clips there. I want to wrap the show up here soon, so I don't want to keep going to all these clips, but go check out the Ro Khanna clip and his response to everything. Very interesting, worth a watch, even though he's a Democrat. Today's drops proves that insiders, they have no mass exposure yet, potentially, of a hidden cabal, and that might be why they're waiting. Or they're trying to protect someone, protect a group of people, protect this cabal, one or the other. And like I said, it's mostly stuff we've seen before. All the things of Epstein courting fame and power, right? So nothing new, just protecting the privacy of the rich, the famous, the elite. But the saga is not over. Like we said, these more batches are promised to come soon. So something explosive is buried. It's going to get leaked, or it'll be forced out eventually into the public. So we'll see. We'll be covering it here live on Straight Talk all the time. So be sure to follow us here, subscribe, turn on your notifications to make sure you always know when we go live, because we'll be discussing all this and more in the coming weeks. So what do you think, chat? Cover up? Is it caution, or is this just bureaucracy? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know in the chat below. If you're watching this back later, definitely drop a comment below in the comment section below. And if you're just joining us, you can call in right now to the show, 314-626-4196. That's 314-626-4196. If you have any comments on the Epstein files, would love to hear from you. Again, to call in, you can dial right now, 314-626-4196. Also, like this stream, share it with a friend. Go ahead, throw a donation in the chat. Appreciate all of you. Well, turning to our more encouraging segment of the night, Faith in the Fire, right? This is one of the best segments. And got to say, we're not going to do left-wing lunatics, cutting out left-wing lunatics. We've gone too long for the Epstein deep dive. Got to wrap things up. We got family here this week, so I just got to wrap things up. But want to encourage you all with Faith in the Fire segment before we wrap things up. We dive into these moments when life's trials feel like a blazing furnace. And tonight we continue the Advent as we've been doing over the last few weeks. Today is December 19th. In the heart of the Advent, the church gives us powerful readings that speak directly to waiting, to impossibility, and the unbreakable faithfulness of God. Specifically, we're looking at Judges chapter 13 and Luke chapter 1, stories of two different barren women and two different angelic announcements. And of course, two sons who would change everything, change the world. In the book of Judges, we meet Manoah and his wife childless in a time when that carried deep shame and sorrow. An angel appears and says, though you are barren and have had no children, yet you will conceive and bear a son. And who is that son, you ask? Well, that son is the great Samson, as you may have heard of. He was a deliverer for Israel in the midst of their oppression. And so that's the story in Judges, right? The story of Samson, his birth, an angelic appearance, and a son to come. And then fast forward, we go to the Gospels with Zechariah and Elizabeth, who are righteous before God, but advanced in years. They're a little old, right? That's what they're saying there. And they're still without child. They're old, no kids yet. Are they going to have kids? That's kind of what they're wondering. And then again, an angel, Gabriel, the angel Gabriel this time, breaks the silence there and says, your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you shall call his name John, Yochanan in Hebrew, John the Baptist, the forerunner who would prepare the way for the Lord. Both of these stories in Judges and in Luke echo the same truth. God specializes in the impossible. When hope seems dead, like a barren womb or forgotten promise, that's often where he plants a new life. Plants a new life in you. He plants a new life in me, in all of us. And tying it all together today is the beautiful O antiphon for December 19th, O radix Jesse, or O root of Jesse. O root of Jesse, who stands as a sign for the peoples, before whom kings shall shut their mouths, to whom the nations shall make their prayer. Come and deliver us, and delay no longer. This ancient prayer calls upon Christ. And he is the shoot springing from the stump of Jesse, right? The root of Jesse, as we see throughout the scriptures. King David's father, that's who Jesse is, if you're not familiar. And Isaiah prophesied it. The prophet Isaiah prophesied this, that a branch from an old, cut down family tree would bear fruit for the whole world. Jesus, the true deliverer, Christ the King, greater than Samson, greater than John, greater than everyone, the greatest, some would say, rising from what looked like defeat to bring freedom, to silence tyrants, and to draw all the nations, to draw the Goyim to himself, right? Everyone he's drawing to himself, Jew, Gentile alike. And friends who are watching this now live, friends who are watching this back later on, you're watching this today, whenever you're watching it, right? You're waiting on a promise that might feel delayed. You're facing a situation that seems barren or can seem hopeless. Well, I want you to hear this. Listen, God hasn't forgotten you. God hasn't forgotten his promise to you. He is the root that brings life from the dry ground. He brings the bones to life, right? The dry bones to life. And like Manoah's wife and like Elizabeth, John's mother, your story isn't over. Our story isn't over. No one's story isn't over. If you're not dead, then he's not done. The same God who turned impossibility into annunciation is working in your waiting season. So hold on a little longer. Persevere. Hold fast. Cry out with the church. The church, the broader church. Come and deliver us. Oh Lord, don't delay. Advent always reminds us that he is coming. He's coming soon. Don't delay. He's always going to keep his word about that, about everything else. And that is our faith in the fire word for today. Keep on trusting the promise keeper. He keeps his promises 100% of the time. Well, wrapping up here, had a great show, big show, perhaps the biggest show we've ever had. Episode 10 of the Straight Talk podcast. We've made it to 10 live episodes. Can't believe it. Thank you for everyone who's joined us. We've garnered over, I think, 40,000 views across all of our channels. So super amazing to see the growth that we're having with the show across all these different channels. So really appreciate everyone who's liked, shared the stream. If you're watching right now, like this video, share it on the social media platforms, share it in a text message, in a group chat, to your mother, to your daughter, to your son, your niece, your nephew, your uncle, your parents, right? Share it with someone. To wrap up what we talked about today, we had seen solid steps on drug costs from President Trump, as well as child protection that we needed. We also saw the marijuana policy, the rescheduling of marijuana, as well as movement on the cancellation of conservative talk show hosts at AmFest. So interesting dynamics playing at AmFest, Turning Point's event right now in Phoenix. Tensions rising high. And we exposed the Epstein truth. The truth is there's nothing new. It's unfortunate. We saw a few things, but from what I could find, nothing new in the Epstein files. Just a reminder, there's no show next week. No show next week. We will be going live, I think, maybe a couple times next week. So be sure to like this video, share this with someone, follow us on Rumble so that when we do go live, we'll be going live, I think, for some of the AmFest talks, for JD Vance's talk, things like that. But we won't have a show next Friday. We'll be coming back to our weekly show on January 2nd, 2026, baby. Super excited about the new year and everything that we're going to be bringing you. Again, subscribe on Rumble, YouTube, follow me on X to stay involved in the conversation all week long. You can follow me at Isaiah Ascher on X. That's x.com/Isaiah Ascher. Go ahead, drop a donation in the chat below. Gift some subs. We will have some merch coming soon in 2026. Appreciate everyone who joined in tonight. Appreciate everyone who watched this after the fact, whether it's on Rumble, YouTube, X. Every viewer, means the world to me. Every view means the world to me. I never thought I'd be doing anything like this. And after Charlie Kirk's assassination, really lit a fire inside of me. Started running for local election. I started doing this show, and I didn't really know what it had in store. And we're kind of getting our rhythm now that we're 10 episodes in. I want to try to get some guests on the show. So if you want to see anyone particular, reach out to me, DM me on Twitter. If you have someone that wants to be on the show that would be substantive, DM me on Twitter as well. Would love to hear from different voices. We may even in the future have a conversation with a leftist, me and a left-wing lunatic, and me, your right-wing retard, just talking and discussing our differences and, hey, maybe even things that we could find agreements on, because really the jokes I make are just to help us break the ice that all of us can joke. I can make fun of myself. We can make fun of each other, right? But at the end of the day, we want to bridge those gaps. We want to be able to have conversations, just like Charlie Kirk was talking about, having conversations, dialogue, where we aren't canceling each other. And the answer is not to shoot each other because we don't agree with each other, rather to open a dialogue and have a discussion, right? I'm all for the Second Amendment, all for guns, but that's not the answer when you disagree with someone, right? The answer is dialogue. Well, like I said, amazing show this week. Thank you so much for everyone who joined in. Thank you for the support. Can't wait to see you back on January 2nd. Again, a reminder, next week we will not have a show, but we will probably have some live streams between now and January 2nd. So subscribe, follow us, turn on notifications. That's my last reminder. That's all we got. We're going to go ahead and go out, of course, with our Christmas music. And we'll see you all in the coming weeks and see you back regular on January 2nd. See you guys.